Hello, everyone. My name is Tim Chou, and I'm welcome to all of you. I'm here to talk to you about five different technologies that I believe make a material difference to businesses, to industries, and frankly, to countries. And the first we're really going to talk about is cloud computing. It's an area I have been a long time in. Actually, was originally started the cloud computing business at Oracle quite a few years ago. Ultimately ended up starting the first class in cloud computing at Stanford University. It's called CS309A. And if you're interested, you can take a look at cs309a.stanford.edu. And what I want to do this morning, this afternoon, is really talk a little about some of the fundamental benefits of cloud computing, give you a definition that I think you can work with and think about, and really highlight what I think probably is the most important thing, which is that cloud computing is fundamentally a shift in a business model, which is allowing things to happen that never could happen before. So with that, let me start. I don't know how many of you have worked in the old on-premises world. If you're young, you probably have never realized that software actually used to be bought on a CD-ROM and installed. But in a lot of corporations in Brazil and around the world, there's still a lot of software that was built to work in the old on-premises world, meaning I own the computers, I own the data center, I manage the applications. And so the IT department, if you look at what the IT department really does, is it not only does the initial installation, which I would call change management, but it also has to spend time and resource managing the security of these applications, managing the availability of them, whether they're up or down, manage the performance, how fast they operate, and managing change, because obviously as I build new application or as I release new features, I may want to use those and incorporate those. So I have to go through change management. For an application, we'll pick on something like, Oracle Financials or SAP manufacturing applications. Not only do I have to manage the application, but I also have to manage the compute and storage. The computers this actually runs on, the storage that I save the data on, and obviously the room, the data center that I keep this compute and storage in. Well, what happened now, we'll call it nearly 20 years ago, is the first generation of this happened when the internet arrived and brought with it a whole bunch of applications which none of us ever had to install on our PCs, laptops, Macs, etc. And these today as being able to watch Netflix or use Twitter or run Google search or post on Facebook. All of these are examples of software applications where the company themselves, whether that's Google or Netflix or Facebook, is not only managing the application, but also the computers that it runs on, the storage that they use, the data centers that data lives in. It's their responsibility to manage the security, the availability, the performance, and the change of these applications and the underlying infrastructure. What you may equally realize is this has also happened in the world of business applications. Salesforce, probably one of the most famous in this area, but NetSuite, SuccessFactors, Workday, ServiceNow, Taleo, which was purchased by Oracle several years ago. All of these are business applications which require compute and storage to run on and live inside data centers, where now, whether it's Workday or ServiceNow, they have to manage the security, availability, performance, and change. So now I, as the IT department, no longer have to do that. I can outsource that. You could think of that way to each of these companies. And by the way, these companies are going to try to do that in the most efficient way, in the most standard way possible, to reduce cost and improve the quality of the service. Now, what happened, now 15 years ago is the AWS, Amazon came out and said, hey, Well, that's great for applications, but what about compute and storage? And so the arrival of AWS, which is what everybody calls it shorthand today, or Google Cloud, GCP, Azure, Baidu Cloud in Asia, is really the idea that, for a minute, forget about the application, but I have to manage the compute and storage. In the old world, I had to go hire system administrators, right? Engineers to go manage that. I don't have to do that anymore. So now I can allow, whether it's Google or Microsoft or whomever, to manage that compute and storage, to manage the security, the availability, the performance, and the change of that infrastructure. And by the way, in data centers that I own. So you may never have thought about this, but it's a quick little map to show you where these data centers are, because by the way, unless you can transmit at faster than the speed of light and communication costs are zero, you're going to want to be able to locate the data, the compute closer and closer to the user of it. So what you're seeing here is a map that shows you in rough approximations where some of these data centers are. You'll notice there's an AWS and a Microsoft one down in Brazil here as well. So that's where the compute and storage is located that a Microsoft or an Amazon would be managing. Now, as I said at the beginning, one of the most important ideas here is not only am I allowing somebody else to manage and hire all the people to go do that, the security, the performance, and the change of this compute and storage, but also I am delivering this in an operational, an OpEx business model where you don't have to buy the computers up front, the data centers up front, all the what is referred to as CapEx cost. I can now change this into OpEx. And just to make a point of it, at this stage, I actually did this math probably about a year ago, so it might be better than this right now. $100 actually right now will buy you 4,000 computers for an hour, which is, no one ever was able to do that before. And so this idea that cloud computing is not only a technology, but it is also a business model. So this is what you can see in the world of compute. In the world of storage, where I think people have often thought it's very expensive, actually right now, $1,000 will store about 50 terabytes for a year. I just want to end with, some people out there have heard the word private cloud and hybrid cloud. So what I want you to understand is what that means is that, and I'll point you over to location one, is you can, as a company, decide that I'm going to buy the computers, I'm going to go manage them, and VMware will help you do this with their technologies. I will hire the people, and I will deliver this as a quote private cloud service. Obviously, I could choose to go build my own data centers if I want, but there are plenty of people who will provide you data center services out there. And obviously, as you see here, everybody's running on the same network cloud services, whether it's coming from AT&T or Telmex or whomever. With that, I hope you understand what compute and storage cloud services are. You are allowing somebody like Amazon or Microsoft to go purchase, and I'll use a number of million servers, put them in about 10 data centers in the world, and allow them to manage the security, the availability, the performance, and the change of that, and deliver it in an OpEx, not a CapEx model. So I hope that helped you understand what cloud computing is all about, and that you start to think about how you could use these sorts of services to develop applications that may never have existed before because the economics didn't allow you to do that.